What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sorry That You're Game Fan, and welcome to episode 3 of my Let's Review series. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Crash Bandicoot series. I'm going to be reviewing for you Crash Bandicoot. Yes, I said Crash Bandicoot. Boy, oh boy. Oi. I said that for a good reason. Because Crash 4 came out this year. Found that game interesting to play on the PS4. And I can't wait to review it. However, there's only one thing. I have to review the old school Crash games first before I head to Crash 4. That includes Crash 1, 2, Crash Warped, and maybe some other Crash Party games on the way. So without further ado, here's my let's begin the third episode. Oh, the 1990s. How spectacular is the 90s? PS1 was released in North America in 1995 when the Raptors started their franchise and was born in the same year. Now, what can I say about the PS1? A lot of great released games to the system, and one game that caught everyone's attention is Crash Bandicoot. And yes, that's the mascot and Crash's first ever game on this console. And the game we're going to start off is the game on the PS1. So first, let's start off with the concept. The concept of Crash Bandicoot, he looks similar to Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog and Warner Bros. To Tsunami Devil. Which means Naughty Dog wanted to incorporate an animal that no one knew about. It was between a wombat, a bandicoot, or a portoreo. However, in October of '94, Bandicoot was named for the Crash character. What about for both their names? They were referenced, but they're not unmentioned. Now, let's get down to the main story of Crash Bandicoot. So it all goes down where Dr. Neocortex and Dr. Nitrous Brio uses an Evolu Ray device to mutate living animals into beasts. He wants to have Crash to be the leader of the animal army soldier. And without warning from Brio, he subjects to Crash to untest Cortex to attempt to control him, subjecting to Vortex to eject Crash and go for another one. Another target Cortex prepares to go for is Tawana, a female bandicoot. But however, Crash saves Tawana and defeats Cortex by none other than Aku Aku. But Crash now fights with Brio after successfully defeating Brio. The castle starts to catch on fire and allows Crash and Tawana to escape to Cortex's airship, where Cortex shoots a gun and then gets reflected by Crash, sending Cortex falling into the skies. Now the plot's out of the way. Let's take a look at the gameplay of Crash Bandicoot. The gameplay in Crash Bandicoot is just like any other platforming game, as you control Crash Bandicoot as he goes to each level in order to progress. Crash can defeat enemies by jumping on them or using the spin attack to launch the enemy. However, he will get hit by an enemy, obstacle, or fall down into a bottomless pit if Crash loses a life. If he loses all of his lives, it will result in a game over. So in order to protect Crash Bandicoot, we can collect and protect Crash Bandicoot with Aku Aku masks. With these masks, Crash will be protected by a single enemy's hit or an obstacle. But what about bottomless pits or death's obstacles? Nope. It only works. It won't work. Aside from that, you can hold up to 2 masks, and with those 2 masks, you can hold it once. A third one is retrieved. You will have an invincibility. Just so you know, this is a temporary invincibility. Now on the side of lives, if a player runs out of lives, for instance, or has more lives, it can be earned by earning extra lives, by finding extra lives, or collecting 100 of those Wampa fruits. Speaking of which, you can actually find these various types of crates that are scattered throughout each level that contains Awampa fruits and Aku Aku masks that can be received if you jump or spin on them. Aside from the masks and the Wampa fruits, these crates can include checkpoint crates, bouncing crates, and of course, the explosives. Let's start with the checkpoint crates. So, a checkpoint crate allows the person to resume their progression after dying. Nothing too special about that. Next is the bouncing crate. If you collect Wampa fruits, you could bounce on them. Finally, the explosives. These explosives will explode on you if you are not careful. There's also a timer, so if you step on that, run. Run for your dear God life. After completing a level, you'll earn a gem. To get a gem, you need to clear a stage without being dead, without dying. This means you have to stay alive. And speaking of gems, you need to collect all these gems in order to get to the good ending. Once collected, you will be warped into a bonus stage. And that will allow the player to save their progression after completion. Now this whole gameplay's out of the way, let's take a look at one of their levels in Crash Bandicoot. So in Crash Bandicoot, this game works with islands for each stage. The Insanity Island, the Middle Island, and Cortex Island. Let's start off with the Insanity Island, where this is the beginning of the island to start off Crash Bandicoot. Oh. And yes, this is the beginning of Crash Bandicoot. The Wampa Island, or in this one, the Middle Island, is the second island where Crash is on a mission to save Tawana from the evil Cortex. And finally, Cortex Island, the final island in Crash 1. As it serves a purpose, it's the final step where Crash defeats both Cortex and his thugs. With each island, it has 32 levels. So that's 12 in Insanity Island, 12 levels in Wampa Island, and 8 levels in Cortex Island. And each island has their own state-of-the-art bosses. There are bosses so there's 6 bosses in Crash Bandicoot. 2 bosses in Insanity Island, 2 bosses in Middle Island, and 2 bosses in the Wampa Island. Hold on. So in Crash Bandicoot, there's 6 bosses. 2 bosses in Insanity Island, 2 bosses in Wampa Island, and 2 bosses in Cortex Island. So let's start off with the Insanity Island. So when you approach these 2 bosses, you're facing with the Papu Papu and Ripple bosses, which are simply easy. Well, sort of easy. The next two in Middle Island is the Koala Kong and the Pinstri Poruto, which are half easy but complicated at the same time. Finally, at Cortex Island, Dr. Brio and Neocortex. Yeah, these bosses are tough. I kid you not. It's a do or die situation. If you want to beat these bad boys, you need to get the extra lives. So, what's my final thoughts of Crash Bandicoot for the PS1? Well, I find it pretty great. It's one of the best adventuring platforming games of all times, aside from Sonic the Hedgehog. I like how they managed how you can find these secrets and gems, and I think it's a really great game. This game also is on the PS3 and on the Crash Bandicoot and Insanity trilogy. Yes, the remasters and not ported. So if you want to play Crash Bandicoot, and if you own a PS1 or PS2 or even a PS3, you could somewhat get this game. I don't know when, but I don't know. But if you don't own these 3 games, it's on PlayStation, or if you don't own the 3 PlayStation consoles, but you own a PS4, get the remaster version. So that'll wrap it up right here for episode 3. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, Make sure to go ahead and rate this video and comment down below what do you think about Crash Bandicoot. And if you're new to Sonic the Game fan, remember to press subscribe and ring the bell icon to be part of the All-Star Gaming League, as there will be more videos coming your way to Sonic the Gaming fan. So until next time, I'll see you guys on episode 4 of the review series. Peace.